XDefiant has had an explosive start when it launched on May 21st, and it has not been showing any signs of slowing down, and I knew this was going to happen. We put up a video, a Chaos Top 10 style video, ranking the best guns in XDefiant, just to see what the community thought. Well, the video did very, very well, and there were so many comments that they wanted us to do more Chaos-driven XDefiant videos. And then there were a ton of questions. Do you think COD is better? Do you think XDefiant is better? Can XDefiant truly be a COD killer? And I knew this was going to happen, so here we are. Here we are. It is boasting millions of unique players across PC and console, and I've heard you guys. So this video is dedicated to all of you who still don't get the hype around XDefiant, because today we are going to talk about 10 major reasons why a lot of people think this game is actually better than Call of Duty. Can it dethrone Call of Duty? Well, we'll discuss it. Keep it civil in the comment section. Drop a like on the video if you want more XDefiant content in the future. And at number 10, the 35 gig download. Seriously, this game is only 35 gigs. Now, it's almost impossible to find new games in 2024 that are that small, and it's a pretty insane step up from Call of Duty, which demands over 100 gigs of free space on your hard drive at any given time. Now, every new update and every new COD game download takes forever because of the insane file size. And there's also a bit of frustration that comes with having a game on your hard drive that's taking up that much space. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. You could fit another 2 to 3 games. XDefiant, being such a relatively small download, not only makes the updates download and install much quicker than Call of Duty patches, but it also means you won't have to worry about uninstalling a bunch of other games to make room for it. It respects your hard drive. I can appreciate that. I hope Black Ops 6 will follow suit, but I kind of doubt it. At number 9, free to play. If you want some arcade FPS fun and you want to feel kind of like the golden age of Call of Duty, you don't have to drop $70 on a game right now. It's completely free, which is going to be music to the ears of all of you COD players who are getting pretty tired of paying full price for 6v6. Now, some have criticized XDefiant for its expensive skins and cosmetic content. I'm not one of those. I'm totally fine with it. You don't have to purchase it. You can play the base game with none of that for free. And there's so much content that you have instant access to. If Ubisoft wants to make their money off optional character skins, I'm 100% okay with that, because it means more people get access to the game, and you're not forced to drop this huge entrance fee on the 6v6 experience like other FPS games. Now, this might be changing a bit with Black Ops 6, because we do have confirmation that it is going to launch on Xbox Game Pass, meaning a lot of people are going to be jumping into multiplayer now that they don't have to drop full price for it for the time being. XDefiant, it's really the only COD type game on the market that lets you, without charging you any money up front, get in. It's going to get a ton of mileage out of that, I promise. And somebody hit me up on Twitter today and said, why would Call of Duty put COD Black Ops 6 on Xbox Game Pass? That's such a dumb decision. They're going to lose so much money. You don't get it. It's not. It's going to have so many more people playing it, and new people, and they will make it up in the microtransactions and the cosmetics and everything else. I promise you, it is a huge, huge win for people to be able to play it on Xbox Game Pass. And COD, they're not going to miss a beat. At number 8, longer time to kill. XDefiant has a very long time to kill compared to the Call of Duty series in general. I like it. By having a longer time to kill, it allows for more engaging back and forth fights between players instead of just awarding the kill to whoever shot first 99% of the time or whoever has the best connection. The longer TTK has been rubbing some COD players the wrong way. I understand. It's a huge change from COD to XDefiant, and it forces you to stay on your target and engage them for much longer than COD does. That's pretty weird at first, but once you get used to the longer TTK, I think it has much more skill-based gameplay loops than COD multiplayer, due to the simple fact you're going to have to outplay your enemy for a longer time than you would in a COD multiplayer, which means you have more opportunities to avoid death yourself and outsmart people and try to finish you off. I like the TTK in the game. I actually think it's kind of perfect. At number 7, great visibility. Call of Duty games frequently have issues with visibility lately, largely due to the use of the intensive shadows and lack of bold player outlines. But XDefiant has excellent visibility. You will never ever see any issues seeing where your enemies are. Even if they're using a darker character skin and sitting in the shadows, they want to make sure you can always see the enemies when they're in front of you, meaning camping is not the easiest to be successful at. There's no real hiding in X Defiant. If you see an enemy player, you're going to have to fight them. And if you don't hit your shots, you're dead. The great visibility of the game means you get to get in combat quicker, and it punishes you for hiding in the shadows, and you never really feel like you got killed simply because you couldn't see somebody. To me, it makes the experience more fair all around. At number 6, this may seem petty, but real gun names. Call of Duty ditched using the real-world gun names in multiplayer years ago. X Defiant did not follow that trend. All the weapons have their real-life names in multiplayer, which kind of helps with the immersion factor, since this game is supposed to be a showdown between a bunch of other Ubisoft franchises where basically all these real-world guns have shown up. On top of that, there's the added immersion factor for the player because we're not using weapons that we visually recognize, but are being told that they have this wacky alternative name. I like it. Now we crack into the top 5. Consistently good, maybe great maps? I'm going to ask you, are there any bad maps in X Defiant? Because if you ask me back, I don't really think so yet. The maps in the game are good. I don't think there's a single one that I'll jump to vote against in a pregame lobby. I mean, I don't. Did I mention this game has pregame map voting? I did. That's a feature that's become weirdly hard to come by in Call of Duty games for some reason, but X Defiant made sure to include it. Now, it's a tad early to tell just which maps are the big fan favorites, but the community is more or less in agreement that it's a good selection of launch maps for a PvP shooter. I can't wait to see the stuff the team is saving for DLC. It's good stuff, and look for a video really soon about Season 1 leaks. We've got some information. And before we move into number 4, I do want to state, you can have your cake and eat it too when it comes to these games. This isn't I can only play X Defiant or Call of Duty. If I say I like X Defiant more, then I'm a traitor to the Call of Duty community. That's not how it works. Everybody has a freedom of choice. You can play them both back and forth all you want to. There's good things about Call of Duty. There's good things about X Defiant. We just like to pit them against each other like we do with the console wars, because that's what we do. But in the end, it's based off whatever you find enjoyment in. At number 4, fun factions. Call of Duty games used to have awesome factions in multiplayer, and those factions came with announcers, themes, taglines. But recently, they haven't been so awesome. I mean, Vanguard didn't even have factions in multiplayer, which was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in COD. The teams in Vanguard were just called My Team and the Enemy Team. Seriously. X Defiant, lots of fun factions, all of which are based on different Ubisoft franchises. There's a Splinter Cell faction, a Ghost Recon faction, a Division faction, a Watch Dogs faction, and a Far Cry faction. This is genius. All of which have multiple playable characters and a ton of great voice lines and characterization. The use of other Ubisoft franchises is good. It gives the game a ton of personality, which is hard to do in PvP games right now, and it opens things up. They're going to have so many different just cosmetic and DLC drops that include these other games. It's a win. Now we get into the top 3. No team deathmatch, and by that I simply mean you have to play the objective in this game in order to be successful. I respect it. Call of Duty has always had a bit of a reputation for being filled with people who don't want to play the objective. They would rather just run around, get kills, and call in devastating kill streaks. I respect that too. I mean, those kinds of lone wolf players, well, X Defiant isn't going to be the best time for them. I kind of like it. I love that this game is dedicated to objective play, keeps everyone on the same page and working towards a single goal in a way that Call of Duty doesn't necessarily do because they offer TDM. I know some people really don't like that there aren't any streaks in the game, but frankly, if you want kill streak rewards, stick to Call of Duty. X Defiant seems to be a love letter to all those Call of Duty OBJ players who weren't afraid to go negative if it meant winning the match. I'm raising my hand right now. At number 2, no camo challenges. What? I know a lot of people enjoy the current COD camo grind, and I get it, but I don't know. I understand the appeal of doing lengthy challenges that force you to use the gun in different ways, but ultimately I think it's a much better idea to just have camos be based on getting good with the gun however you think it's appropriate to use, which is why I do like the camo system in X Defiant, which is solely driven, but XP earned with the weapon. You can use it aggressively. You can be experimental with it. You can use literally any playstyle with all the weapons and still unlock the various camos by getting good and scoring kills. Personally, I think it's solid. It made the grind a lot more satisfying because I'm using that playstyle that I want to use instead of having to get 100 crouch kills or 100 mounted kills or other annoying challenges that some of the most recent COD titles have used. At number 1 today. And at the end of this, I'm going to give you my opinion. Do I think X Defiant is a COD killer? No skill-based matchmaking. Easily the biggest talking point of the game. The fact that the matchmaking is 100% connection-based means your matchmaking times are extremely quick, and you very rarely get put in a lobby with someone with high ping. By keeping the matchmaking completely connection-based, Ubisoft has created a game that not only minimizes the downtime between matches, but also allows the players to play however they want instead of being forced to use meta weapons and expect stiff competition every single time they queue in. That's how Call of Duty has worked since 2019. The lack of SBMM means XDefiant is truly right now a casual PvP shooter, just like the classic Call of Duty games were. If you want to put some time into getting good, you can do that. If you want to just mess around and not take the game too seriously, you finally have the option again after years and years of Call of Duty public sweatfest. The lack of SBMM is going to be what brings a lot of people to XDefiant, and the great gameplay is going to be what keeps them there. Now, the burning question. Is XDefiant a COD killer? You see that title in so many YouTube videos that are up right now. And here is my opinion. No, it's not. Now, if it was launched 3 years ago, absolutely could have taken chunks out of the COD player base in a big way, a substantial way. Could have been actually threatening Call of Duty's player base, which has gone up and down over the last few years. But the fact that it's dropped now, and it's seemingly going to go up against Black Ops 6, a Treyarch game that has had 4 years in development. And just the little bit of information we've had so far, and we don't even have gameplay or anything, but just the vibe that we're getting from Black Ops 6 is that Treyarch is taking us back. Just with the marketing campaign. Feels like old school Call of Duty. Is that going to translate over into gameplay? Is there going to be SBMM? I don't know. But I do know Treyarch is listening. They're watching. So, and they also know that XDefiant has momentum. So, 3 years ago, could be a COD killer. Now, it's just going to be another alternative for people that enjoy this type of game. This is as close as you can get unless you're playing Plutonium to classic, nostalgic Golden Age COD. Black Ops 6 is still going to be modernized, but I think it's going to be really good. So at the end, we all win. We have 2 FPS games that we can thoroughly enjoy. And then again, you could go play Fortnite if you want to. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you soon.